Planning Committee. This is a quasi-judicial meeting and no decisions are made in advance of the meeting. Members of the City Council sit on this committee not as ward members but as representatives of the whole council, and just the usual reminder that we don't enjoy any form of privilege in the comments we make in this meeting. We are expecting a speaker on one item. I will explain the process when we get to that item. Turning then to the agenda, this meeting will be webcast for live and subsequent broadcast via the Council's meeting YouTube site. I won't read out the string of letters and numbers as a link. If you go to YouTube and look for Birmingham City Council meetings, you will find all the meetings there, including this one. And members of the press and the public may record photographs, except where there are confidential or exempt items, of which I don't expect to have any today. Declarations of interest. Members are reminded that they must declare all relevant pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests arising from any business to be discussed at this meeting. And if a disclosable pecuniary interest is declared, a member must not speak or take part in that agenda item. Any declarations will be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. That's the standard declarations of interest. I don't think you need to carry. Okay. As I say, that's the standard declarations of interest paragraph that applies to all Birmingham City Council meetings. In addition, for planning, we expect members who've previously expressed a view or taken part in discussions outside the meetings to declare an interest and withdraw. And similarly, those will be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. Go on then, Councillor Moore.
No, thank you, Chair. Just in respect of item 7, 16 Kent Street, I have objected to this previously and I'm strongly opposed to it, so I will be for that agenda item.
You won't need to, because I'm about to make an announcement about it.
Yeah.
Councillor Booth.
Item 6, 260 Bradford Street. I have potentially conflict of interest here, so as a precaution, I will be that item.
Chair's announcements then. Item 7 has been, sorry, Councillor Cornish. 9. I will get to eventually say that item 7 has been withdrawn by the applicant. I know there's been significant public interest in this item. There is a further application from the same applicant for the site, which is currently at the appeal stage with the planning inspectorate. I understand that submissions have been heard, but that the decision hasn't yet been made. Is there anything you want to add to that, Nick?
No, that's fine. The hearing's happened, as you say, but we haven't had a decision yet on the alternative application.
You can stay in your seat. Minutes. The minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of February have been circulated. Can we agree those as a correct record? Agree. Thank you. That brings us to item 6, which is 260 Bradford Street, where we did have a speaker booked. Councillor Booth is withdrawing, as she mentioned. Any sign of our speaker? As I've got you both at the table, shall we move to Northwest and come back to
Sure, yeah.
City Centre? Okay. Sorry, Kate. So we'll skip to item 8. Peter's already at the table because he was going to do the timings for the speaker. So When you're ready, Pete, if you've got any updates
Um,
on 23 Kingston Road.
Thank you, Chair. No updates on this particular item. Thank you.
Okay, so what we do is we take updates, then if there's a speaker, we hear them, we hear a response to what they've said, then we open it up to members. We don't have a speaker on this one, so I will throw it open to any members that wish to comment on this one. No, you've had the reports, you've been able to study the reports. If you don't have any questions, are you ready to vote on this item? Yeah. Can I see those in favour? Yeah, I make that 12 in favour, which is unanimous. That is approved. Moving on to item 9. Cornish is going to withdraw 4. Do we have any updates on this one?
Thank you, Chair. We have no updates on this item.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from members on item 9? No, this means that you have studied the reports and your questions have been answered. Can I see those in favour? I make that 11 in favour, and as Councillor Cornish has withdrawn, that again is a unanimous decision to approve. We'll retrieve Councillor Cornish from the corridor and move on to item 10. Updates?
I do have one update. Thank you, Chair. So paragraph 7.1 in the report states that 7,607 square metres will be for B8 use and 7,606 square metres will be for B2 use. In actual fact, it is proposed that the entire floor space, which equates to 15,213 square metres, will be for a potential mix of both B2 and B8. There's no issue in terms of the description or the assessment which has been undertaken by officers and is considered acceptable. Thank you, Chair.
Any questions or comments on this one? No? So again, having studied the report, are you ready to vote? Can I see those in favour? 12 in favour. Again, that is unanimously approved. Thank you. Which means that we do have to return to the city centre. Any sign of our speaker? No messages to indicate that. James, not a speaker. Okay. Councillor Booth is withdrawing. I think we will need to move ahead on this item. We'll just have a quick check. There's nobody coming up the stairs? No? Yes, please. I mean, it was the first item under the applications heading. Let's just be absolutely sure that he's not on his way up the stairs. No. Okay, I think we do need to continue with this item then. So, 260 Bradford Street, turning to Nick. Do we have an update?
We do, Chair, thank you. So we have further correspondence from the objector who was speaking directly to members, reiterating their concerns and raising a few further points. Of these points raised, there are 2 updates to the report that I'm suggesting. Firstly, the objector raised the point of the site directly adjoins their building at the back, and they asked the question, what happens to the elevation of the building that will be newly exposed post demolition? we think that that merits an additional condition. So we're not left with an untidy brick wall once that's exposed. So I can read the full detail of that condition now if members wish me to.
Yeah, I'm seeing nods.
Okay, yeah, so the condition would read, no above ground work shall take place until details of the scheme of works for the treatment and finishing of the exposed northwestern facing facade of 22 Green Street has been submitted to and approved in writing by the local planning authority. The details to be submitted shall include the elevations and proposed facing materials. The work should be carried out in accordance with the approved details prior to the first occupation of the proposed development. The second update is around BREEAM. So the objector raised the point that the most recent BREEAM assessment that had been submitted was for an incorrect site, and that is correct. The BREEAM document has been inserted into the wrong file. It was for another site on Bradford Street. But the original assessment submitted with the application is on file and it's publicly accessible. And just to be clear, in terms of specifically BREEAM, there's no BDP policy requirement to meet a particular BREEAM target on this scheme, as the BREEAM only relates to non-residential floor space, and this only has circa 200 square metres, whereas the policy kicks in at 1,000. So in terms of correcting the report, therefore references to BREEAM at 1.8 and 7.14 should be discounted. Although, as I say, all the other references to the energy statement and sustainability targets in the report are correct and still stand. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to say anything? Councillor Johnson-White.
Can I just clarify what the percentage of affordable housing is on this? If I've read it correctly, at page 14 it says 5%. And if that is correct, then that does concern me. That's extremely low, given that this is 131 apartments.
Yeah, so indeed. So just to give some context to the affordable housing recommendation in front of you. So this was assessed by independent assessors, and the result was that the development could sustain 10% affordable housing at 20% discount, and that's set out in the report. However, we're suggesting that we can't go down that route for two reasons. Firstly, from any decisions made from the 28th of March, we have to factor in first homes for the first 25% of any affordable housing, and that is at a greater level of discount, so that's at 30%. So we'd need to factor that in anyway, because we would be unlikely, if in the event that this is approved, to get the 106 done and dusted before the 28th. So we'd have to factor that in. And then the other reason we moved away from that in terms of the suggestion to members is that, that when we look at what 20% discount actually means in terms of the end predicted sales values for these units, we don't think they're all that affordable. When you look at what somebody who would be meeting the eligibility criteria for these units would have to borrow to purchase one. So when you factor in what their deposit would have to be to afford these apartments, we don't think that they would, well, we'd find it very difficult to find somebody who meets the eligibility criteria who would be able to actually purchase them. So the recommendation in front of you is to accept fewer units, but make them truly affordable and target them to the people who truly need them.
Anyone else? Councillor Stanford?
Thank you very much, Chair. Just on that, I just wanted to question why the decision was made to go as far as 40% for those 5 units, and then still have 2 additional units at 30%. Would it not have been more sensible to bring across the board 30% increase in the number of units there, or how? That's why I said only 7 units at 131 is a very low number still. So that's my first question. The other thing I want to say is I welcome there's micro units on the ground floor of this proposal. Also, as we know, with large residential blocks in an area which is increasingly becoming significantly filled with large residential blocks, there is a risk that areas like this kind of stuff become very soulless. I appreciate that Smithfield redevelopment is only stones throw away, so as is with other local community shop form there within the scheme, so that's very welcome. The one thing I wanted to question please excuse my ignorance here. Where in 7.17 it talks about sound reduction benefits of windows and the decibel occurrence of individual noise events, that paragraph refers to triple vents, which aren't anything that I'm familiar with, so if you have some clarification on what triple vents consist of, that would be very helpful. And then finally, a more general point about affordable housing. I certainly, from a personal perspective, could do with a deeper understanding of the process for the independent financial viability process. I don't know if other members would benefit from further information on that or additional training being made available for members.
And I can say that we will pick that up in the mandatory training for the new municipal year, which I forgot to mention under Chair's announcements, and I'll pick up at the end of the meeting. Would you like to reply to the other points?
Yeah, of course. So trickle vents, they are a form of passive ventilation that allows air to come in and out of the room through a little vent in the window. You will have seen them, but you just wouldn't have known what they were. But yeah, it allows air to come in and out. When they're acoustically specified, they also can attenuate the noise at the same time as well. So it's not a mechanical system. It's just a passive. Allows air to come in and out, so it's not a sealed box when you've got your windows closed. I don't think there's anything to raise on the commercial perspective, other than the fact that yes, we obviously try to achieve it where we can. It does add vibrancy to the street frontage and activity, although we have to recognise that there is only so much commercial that you can viably provide. In terms of the mix of affordable, so as I say, I think one of the key issues here is around the affordability of the units. First homes, which is the government mandated requirement, it has to be 30%. We have no sway over that. And the predicted value of a 30% unit, once you've applied the discount for a one bed, is 133,000, going up to 207,000 for a three bed. So whilst it is an improvement over the 20% discount, which would have your one beds at just over 150,000 and your three beds at 237, it still would present a challenge in terms of that finding people to meet the eligibility criteria to afford them. When you look at the deposits and amount that these people would be able to borrow. So with a 40% discount, a one bed unit would fetch up at around 114.5, which once you look at, like I say, reasonable deposit and what you can borrow, that is then truly affordable. And a three bed, you would be looking at around 177. Hence why we've taken the decision to go a bit further there.
Any further comments or questions? Yep.
Sorry, again, I've got to ask about the pedestrian right of way going through the middle of that. There is a condition in there which sure that is once the rear of the site has been developed, will be truly open and probably accessible. It feels like a little bit that being considered as amenity space, which therefore reduces their contribution to number 6 type contributions, feels a little bit like masquerading of community space for the rest of the development and being kind of masqueraded as public benefit. I'm going to see where I'm coming from there. I don't know if I made that as clear as I like.
Yeah, no, I think
understood the point.
Yeah,
I'm hoping Nick did.
Yeah, I got the point. So I think it isn't traditional public open space. That's for sure. But I think we believe it is of public utility, even in the half format that this application would deliver. Of course, there's no guarantee as to whether the route ever does break through. That depends on whether the other site comes forward at the back and in what format that does. But clearly, there is public utility to it. I think it enables those commercial units to have a nice frontage and potentially have breakout space and an external area. So, like I say, I think in terms of the planning balance, we do think there is public benefit to that, and it will not be. There will be no need for any vehicles to go along that, so it would be pedestrianised.
Anyone else? Councillor Griffiths.
Thank you, Chair. Can I just compliment the officers? They've worked out a deal which has actually produced some affordable housing, which will really be affordable. It's less than we would like, but it's better than having the usual government impose 20% discount, which is not affordable on most of the properties that we've been voting through here over the last 2 or 3 years. Thank you, officers.
Thank you. I don't think there's anything to reply to there. Quick scan of the room to see if anybody else wants to speak. I'm not seeing anyone. We're ready to vote in that case on this application. I see those in favour. Those against? And those abstaining. So we have 10 in favour, no one against and 1 abstention. That is accordingly approved. Thank you. We can retrieve Councillor Booth for the remaining items on the agenda. So, under other urgent business, I will just mention that we have 2 dates left for these meetings in this municipal year, which are the 7th and the 28th of April. I know you'll all be busy on the 28th of April, but I do need a quorum for that meeting as well. And then we will resume on the 26th of May after the council AGM, because that's a tight turnaround. The mandatory training will be on the 19th of May, the week before, and that will go out to all councillors with an interest in planning, so that we do notify people well in advance that if they are nominated to the committee, that is something they will need to do. Okay, does anybody else have any urgent business that won't wait till the next meeting? No? In that case, I will move on to the authority to myself as chair, jointly with the relevant chief officer, to be given authority to act on behalf of the committee between meetings. Can we agree that? Thank you very much. And that does bring today's meeting to a close. Thank you.